Restoring Men in History, Emily Saves America clips, male and female relationships, and other today. Let's watch clip 1, Emily Saves America.
How should men deal with today's woman? Should they even date them?
I know, right? I do believe men need to go back to being masculine and being traditional. But it's funny because a lot of the women's behavior we see that men don't like, I go, but yeah, you guys encourage that though.
Yes.
That's where you got to take responsibility on both ends. I go, you don't like when girls do these things, but these are the girls you choose and you date, and you've made these things very popular.
Yeah.
And now you don't like it. But I mean, like, and you know, with my boyfriend, like, he is always brutally honest. And I think the one thing that's lacking with men and women, bottom line, is respect.
Yeah.
I think men don't respect women, women don't respect men. We're equally using each other and abusing each other.
Yeah.
And that needs to start with boundaries at the beginning. You know what I mean? And I just don't really see that anymore. And also traditional roles. You lead, I follow.
So, of course, male and female relationships, we believe, are so important to society, to America. And here she's addressing something about male and female relationships. What is she addressing? Lead. Men need to be the leaders, and that is true. We agree with that. We've talked about that. Men and women can make each other better, enrich each other. Why would totalitarians not want that? Well, that's pretty obvious. They don't want men and women getting along well. The Marxists don't, the totalitarians don't, people that want power don't want men and women getting along well, and they don't want men leading. Men, you have to lead. Now, she also talks about the feminine and the traditional masculine and traditional roles, right? And we've talked about the masculine and traditional roles. What is manliness? Well, we've got videos on that, but it's the internal mainly. And men do have to be masculine, and we have to find those traditional roles and lead. If you like this video, please subscribe, hit the notification button, and like. And by being in the traditional roles, for most people, there will be outliers. That will create the attraction, which will lead to a better society and healthier and better relationships and more fulfillment and happiness for women, because most women like to be loved, right? Most men like to be respected, right? So, complimenting each other, making each other better, knowing the differences and celebrating the differences. There are differences in men and women. We can celebrate the differences and appreciate them and be grateful for them. And also we can frustrate the powers that be, because healthy male and female relationships and men and women getting along would frustrate the powers that be and the totalitarians. So let's frustrate them. Come on over to the freedom side. Clip number 2.
My dad said that we are now supposed to refer to illegal aliens, illegal immigrants, as newcomers on the block? No.
Language on immigration. The left wants to control language, change reality. We must stand for the truth, men. Men are men, women are women. Illegal aliens. Language is important, and it will affect your brain and how you act and how you accept things. There's a faction that wants illegal immigration. How will they accomplish that? By making you seem like they're just newcomers or citizens or whatever language they taught, migrants. Whatever they're going to say changes the nature of it, right? If it's illegal, it's illegal, right? If you illegally cross the boundary, you're illegally crossing the boundary, and it's against the law, right? So that is a what? Illegal alien. So let's don't adopt their language, and don't let them change our language. Very important. The left's very good at coercing people into accepting their language. And we don't want that here. Look at what's going on in Europe. It is a disaster with immigration, right? We need American principles, and we need them taught. Right now, you got people coming across the border, they cross over, then they go in these indoctrination centers, and then they're taught to hate America, hate the parents, hate God, hate everything, hate American principles, hate free markets. And that will not be a cohesive country, right? That cannot last, that cannot stand. We have to have that past history. They hate American history. They hate the founding fathers. They hate the founding. So come over here illegally, then you get put in an indoctrination center. That can't last. Taught to hate whites, taught to hate race, class, taught to hate all these things. Oppressor, oppressing. Anyway, it's the oppressed oppressor mentality. Sorry, something came by and distracted me. I don't know what's going on out there. Anyway. All right, so clip 3, indoctrination. She didn't go on. Let's take a look.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't go to college. I think I'm a million times better off. I immediately entered the workforce. I think it prepared me better for life. I wasn't told to hate America, and I wasn't coddled all day. I went in and, hey, my bosses were like, hey, do your job and shut up. And until you become the boss, we don't really care about your opinions. So I think it did well for me. And unless you're becoming a doctor or lawyer, you don't need a gender studies degree. You're okay. You'll live without it.
Why didn't you go to college?
For me, it wasn't an option. I really couldn't afford it. So I went straight into the workforce. And thank God, because I would just be in debt right now, like everyone else.
And now you're crushing it, and you're on Jesse Waters Primetime.
So she didn't go on to college, right? She didn't go to college, so she didn't get indoctrinated. Maybe she would, maybe she would not have. The point is, for colleges, they are indoctrination centers. They're turning people against American principles. We just talked about it, and certainly she turned out well, it seems. By the way, with indoctrination and feminism and Marxism that are being taught in the colleges, Gen Z is going opposite directions in terms of, and this is an anomaly usually, the boys are going more conservative, the girls are going more left, and that makes total sense, right? They're indoctrinated by the schools, right? And if you're a follower, you're going to listen more and pay attention more, right? Also, if females are more agreeable in certain items and they want to be liked more and accepted by the tribe, then they might go along more than the boys with all this nonsense, right? With the trans stuff and all that, right? Going more left while the boys go more right. And we'll do a video on that. I think I got one coming up. Clay, clip 4.
I was gonna say, I think both are just two separate cults, because which is so funny. And I think also sides have like ironically kind of switched, because as a Republican now, I'm like so anti-war. I'm anti-sending money to all these different countries that are not ours while people are sick from the water and children are starving. Anti-pharmaceutical, anti-big government, anti all these things. And I'm like, that is original liberalism. So I'm like, I think I'm more like independent, but I register and I vote as far right as I possibly can, and always will.
So cheers for her. She's not a neocon. Right now there's paleocons, there's neocons, but there's not many paleocons. There's a lot of neocons that want us sending money and being involved in all these foreign countries when we are absolutely beyond broke and in massive debt. What is it now? $37 trillion. Middle class is struggling. It causes inflation to keep spending, and we just keep spending. What did George Washington say? Don't go into debt, which we are. See, if we'd stayed with some of the founding fathers like George Washington, we'd be a better country, right? Followed the Constitution. Don't go into debt. Don't let the federal government go into do things that they don't have the power for. Powers they are not enumerated, right? Powers that are not enumerated. And don't get in all these foreign wars, right? Don't be a neocon and go to war. Don't send all this money to Ukraine. We don't need to be sending this money to Ukraine when we've got inflation and Americans are struggling, and we don't need to do it anyway. What did George Washington say? It could create animosity. Don't be entangled. On to clip 5.
If you're going to bring value to the table to a man, you need to bring feminine value, not masculine value. Yeah, when he comes home from work, like, why not be supportive, loving, nurturing, and like kind and soft and all those things? Because like, I can't imagine, I think now a lot of men probably come home to not that, to quite the opposite of that. You're also gonna bring out the worst type of man when you act like that. I'm sure a lot of these women are shitty wives. I'm sure their husbands work hard, come home, and then what? I'm sorry, what are they doing? Sitting on TikTok in sweatpants?
So yes, 100% accurate. Bring feminine value and men will appreciate it. Manly men will appreciate it for sure. That's what we want. That's what men want. Manly men want. They want that feminine value. She's right, 100% coming home. All of this, men want to be respected, women want to be loved. She's right about feminine value. Be feminine. And that what? Masculine men are attracted to feminine, feminine women are attracted to the masculine. That creates an attraction. That should make the relationship better. Then it might lead to marriage or a serious, deep, fulfilling relationship, and then babies and etc. And make society stronger and America stronger, right? Powers that be probably don't want that. The Marxists don't seem to want that, right? They're working hard against to make men and women what? Hate each other, right? You make men and women hate each other. You cut off people, you keep them isolated, alone, easier to control, right? Don't have a leader in the household. Harder on the kids if you have kids. If you don't have kids, it's just a bunch of people sitting in Ready Player One. Remember the movie Ready Player One? Everybody's isolated, sitting alone, playing games. That'd be great for a totalitarian society. Everybody's sitting on a hovel playing games, right? If men and women are together and they make each other better, they're stronger, right? If they get along well and they have a great relationship and they're attracted to each other, right? And that is possible. And men and women together can make the country stronger, right? Powers that be don't want that. Marxists don't want that. I'm sure there's many countries that want weak American men and don't want that, right? They want weak American men that don't stand for the Constitution, that don't stand peacefully for our ideas, for American principles.
Like, if you want to be wifed up, you have to act like a wife. I was the biggest piece of shit on earth. I was the worst female. I know, because I would go on dates and guys would go, "You are the worst female I've ever met in my life." And I was like, well, gotta be remembered somehow. And obviously I've changed my behavior. I'm getting older. I'm getting into this. I'd like to eventually do things my children will see and not be shameful of. Like I said, they're MK Ultraing us right now to be against each other. They don't want us breeding. They don't want us together. They want us at war. And that is, you will only see right now videos being promoted of men against women. Every woman podcast, and let's talk about it, Julia Fox, Emrata, all these women. What do? They go, first of all, they have made their living off of men wanting to sleep with them, okay? And then they go on there, all men are is one of the most, that to even come out of your mouth is so toxic and disgusting.
And we just talked about that. Men want to feel respected, women want to be loved. If you want to create a weak country, create weak, unfulfilled, lonely, isolated people that are depressed, contemplating suicide, etc., that are lonely, isolated, and have nobody to talk to, women that don't feel loved, women that aren't in a relationship, men that aren't respected, that aren't in a relationship, that are lonely. No male friendship either, friendships in decrease. So relationships, isolated, lonely people, easier for totalitarians to control. Just talked about it. All right, this is a great one. Clip 7 for Rod and John. Here you go.
It is the most like beta thing to watch a full-grown man hit a little metal.
Is that worse than a man wearing a mask in a car alone?
There is nothing less attractive. I'm not even going to lie. When I had to date during COVID, even walking through the restaurant with the mask on, I would be like, I literally have never been more turned off in my life. I was like, just seeing you for 5 seconds with a mask on, I couldn't even fathom having sex with you. It is so embarrassing. Still even now.
So amazing times through that period of the craziness of the mask. And I remember going in Wendy's, Walmart, all these places, Kinko's over and over and over, and I was the only one not in a mask. Best Buy, I took a picture of it with everybody in a mask with me. Men had to step up and lead at that. People started asking me, when will this be over, Chuck? I said, when 15% of the men stop wearing a mask and tell their girls they don't have to wear the mask, that it's safe, that it's okay, that'll be over. Americans have to stand peacefully and say, enough, peacefully. And for freedom to last, men have to lead the family and they have to lead. Otherwise, we will not have freedom. And it gradually slips away. And we're on the freedom side. Come on over. It's better over here. And last clip, number 8, birth control. Watch this.
The number one cause, in my opinion, as a board-certified medical doctor, is the number one cause of depression in women is birth control.
It is so weird when I first saw that they were saying that birth control makes you attracted to the wrong person. That is the truest thing. And it is so crazy because when I got off of it and like had it out of my system for a long time, I am attracted to like 100% different men now. I was attracted to like females before, like the most like beta cucked men ever. I will say me and my sister, we were both on birth control and we were nuts. We were, I mean, don't want to say the word, but the word when you really don't enjoy life and you don't want to do it anymore. We both were, and we have good lives, you know what I mean? But it was crazy. When I was on birth control, I would not have sex. I felt like I was in a state of madness 24/7.
So factions, birth control, certain factions don't want the population to grow. Certain factions want women attracted to weak, effeminate men. That makes sense, right? If you want to control Americans, if you want to control America, if you want America to fall, you want women attracted to weak men. Now, I don't know if that was the whole purpose, but there's an EV article and other articles that have been going around, all around, about how the birth control seems to make women attracted to effeminate men. And that would be good, whether it's for a totalitarian, right? That would be good for people that want control over families. Non-leader in the family, or people not even getting married, or no families, unhealthy, bad relationships, or no relationships, just a man sitting here, a woman sitting here, and never dating again, right? Right now there's a problem dating. Forget about marriage. Right now there's problems dating people. People are having trouble, I read online all the time, just getting dates. And there's a war going on that we don't need to be a part of. Men and women can make each other better. Doesn't need to be this war that the Marxists want between men and women. Right? You put a girl with an effeminate man, she's going to be more unfulfilled, right? Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to be making all the decisions? Who's going to be doing everything? Who's going to make her feel safe and protected, right? An effeminate man who's scared of everything is not going to be making you feel safe and protected. So, birth control pills tend to make women attracted to effeminate men, according to the articles. So this is by design, right? There are factions of the Marxists that don't want men and women getting along, but we don't have to go along with it. We can choose to love each other, like each other, and get along well. And then peacefully have the winning ideas to return to restore the Constitution, return to limited federal government, return to limited state governments, so that you have freedom, so that the people have opportunities, so that you can build better lives and get married and choose to get married when there is no inflation and taxes are less and spending is reduced. And we can make each other better. And each has a role to play in a relationship where two people love each other, and each has a role to play in the country and society to ensure freedom for the next generations and for people that do want to come here legally. We can protect and restore freedom. Now, she has a thing. Her mantra is, her channel is called Emily Saves America. But we know who it's up to. It's up to you men to save America, restore freedom, and restore the great relationships between men and women, and be the leader. Thank you. If you like this video, please like, comment, and hit the notification button and subscribe.